in the far north, where days stretch like dreams and silence moves through snow and sea, there lies a land carved by light and time. This is a country of deep, ancient fjords, where mountains rise from water like forgotten giants. The Vikings once ruled these waves, fierce and free, carving sagas into the salt, and the Sami still follow the reindeer's rhythm beneath skies that shimmer with green flame. Yet not all is wild. In Oslo, quiet streets and timeless spires hold the steady heartbeat of a modern north. More than a place, it is a breath, a pause, a feeling, a land that listens as you arrive. This is Norway. Beyond the first light, Norway begins to whisper. Villages cling to the fjord's edge, like memories that refuse to fade. The water is still, a mirror for the mountains and for the sky's changing moods. Here, time is measured in tides, and the echo of boats that once carved paths into ice and wind. Every harbor holds a secret. Every wooden dock knows the weight of stories told by fishermen and storm. This is not just a coastline. It's a conversation between land and longing. But even in a place shaped by fjords and silence, war found a way in. In 1941, the winds over Lofoten carried more than snow. They carried orders. British commandos stormed the frozen coast in the early light, rifles raised, boots cracking through ice and gravel. It was one of the first Allied raids of the war, a whisper of resistance along Nazi-occupied shores. Fish oil factories burned. German radios were silenced. And in the stillness that followed, hundreds of Norwegians escaped to freedom. The Lofoten raid left little behind but smoke, silence, and a signal to the world Norway would not be forgotten. Lofoten rises, like a forgotten painting left out in the snow, where sharp peaks meet soft skies, and the sea never quite sleeps. Here, every rooftop holds the hush of a long winter. Every harbor cradles stories, caught between silence and salt. The light, it doesn't shine, it lingers, golden when it arrives, blue when it leaves. And in between, this archipelago dreams of cod-laden boats and wind-worn hands, of a people who speak in few words, but live with great depth. This is Lofoten, not a place you visit, a place you feel long after you've left. Why are they red? These little homes, folded into fjords, draped in crimson like winter berries on a white branch. The answer isn't just tradition. It's survival, economics, and story. Red was once the cheapest color to make, mixed from fish blood, or copper rust, or iron oxide, scraped from the bones of the earth. It was the color of what they had, and what they could afford. But over time, red became something more. A signal in the snow, a warmth against the gray, a shelter for fishermen who'd lost sight of shore. So now, even when they can choose any color, they still choose red. Because here in the north, tradition isn't held in monuments. It's held in walls and windows and weathered paint. In quiet harbors like this, boats don't just wait. They remember. Each line tied to the dock holds 100 mornings and 100 returns. The cabins, painted in rust and gold, stand like sentinels, softened by salt and time. This is Norway by the sea, honest, weathered, and quietly alive. Long before borders, before kingdoms had names, they rose from the mist and the salt, shaped by a cold seas and colder gods. The Vikings were not born to conquer, they were born to endure. In the hush before sunrise, they moved like shadows through the trees. Not yet hunters, not yet warriors. The mist rose like breath from the earth, as if the land itself was whispering a warning. Steel was silent, eyes were sharp, and every step forward remembered those who walked before. They stood not as kings, but as keepers, guardians of fire, field, and bloodline. Their homes were built from timber and trust, their walls lined not with gold, but with grain and blades. In the heart of the village, stories lived longer than swords. Fathers taught sons how to hold a shield, not for glory, but for the man beside them. They hunted in silence and fought with noise, but the greatest strength was knowing when to do neither. At dusk, they gathered, not for war, but for song, for warmth, for memory. Because in the Viking world, valor did not end on the battlefield. It echoed in how you lived and how you were remembered. The Viking Age would end not with a final battle, but with the slow arrival of kingdoms and a cross carved in stone. Yet their legacy never vanished. It was woven into ships, law codes, and northern names. Oslo, a city shaped by water and light, cradled at the end of the Oslo Fjord, where islands scatter like stepping stones into the sea. It is one of Europe's fastest-growing capitals, yet it breathes slower than most. Parks and forests cover more than half its land, making it as much a sanctuary as a city. Here, glass and steel rise beside timber houses, and ferries glide past the opera house, their wakes curling into the harbor. Founded in the Middle Ages, rebuilt after centuries of fire and change. Oslo has learned how to begin again. Today, it stands as a capital of design, sustainability, and open air, a place where you can step from a busy cafe straight into a forest path. Oslo is not just a stop on the way north, it is a meeting point of fjord and forest, history and tomorrow. In the heart of Oslo lies Vigeland Park, a living gallery carved in stone. Here, over 200 sculptures capture the story of humanity, from first breath to final farewell. When the sun slips behind the fjord, Oslo changes its voice. Glass and water catch the last light, and the city hums in softer tones. The opera house glows like an iceberg under moonlight, and every street becomes a ribbon of gold. By day, Oslo is movement. By night, it is reflection. A capital that keeps its heart open even after dark. As the city's glow slowly fades, Oslo exhales into dawn. The streets breathe mist, cobblestones glisten, kissed by the night's last dew. Through this softened light, she appears, a lone woman on her bicycle, gliding as if the world still sleeps. Her breath drifts in pale clouds, her scarf, a ribbon of flame, dancing in the cold air. The hum of her wheels echoes through the stillness, past shuttered windows, past cafes just beginning to stir. In Oslo, mornings are not hurried. They are savored, like the first sip of warmth in winter. In the far north of Norway, where the snow stretches beyond sight, live the Sami, the indigenous people of the Arctic. For centuries, reindeer herding has been at the heart of their way of life, providing food, clothing, and a means to trade across frozen landscapes. Their traditional dress, the gakti, carries bright colors and intricate patterns, each telling where a person comes from and the family they belong to. While the world has changed around them, the Sami still follow the reindeer's path beneath winter skies, keeping alive traditions that have endured here for thousands of years. Carved into the stone over 6,000 years ago, these lines tell the stories of Norway's first people. Here in Alta, hunters and gatherers etched reindeer, elk, bears, and boats, recording not just the animals they chased, but the essence of the land itself. These petroglyphs are more than art. They are echoes of ceremony, of belief, and of the timeless bond between humans, animals, and the Arctic wilderness. Tromsø, the gateway to the Arctic, surrounded by snow-covered mountains and icy fjords. This city lies more than 300 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle, yet it hums with life in the heart of the polar winter. A place where fishing boats cut through frozen waters and the northern lights often dance above the rooftops. Rising like a shard of ice against the polar night, the Arctic Cathedral is Tromsø's most iconic landmark. Built in 1965, its striking design was inspired by the surrounding mountains and glaciers. By day, its white walls shine against the snow, and by night, its glass facade glows warmly, a beacon in the Arctic darkness. Tromsø is often called the Paris of the North, a name it earned in the 19th century for its vibrant cultural life, far beyond what visitors expected. From a city so far north, it is home to the world's northernmost university, brewery, and botanical garden, each thriving despite the long polar nights. During World War II, Tromsø briefly served as the capital of Free Norway after the government fled Oslo during the German occupation. Today, the harbor rarely freezes thanks to the warm North Atlantic current, keeping fishing boats, research vessels, and cruise liners moving, even in the depths of winter. And above it all, the clear Arctic skies make Tromsø one of the best places on Earth to watch the northern lights paint the night. Where the mountains meet the Arctic Sea, the coastline curves like a frozen brushstroke, each bend shaped by centuries of wind and ice. Winter light spills gently over dark waters, painting the fjords in silver and rose. The tide moves in rhythms older than memory, rolling against stone and carrying whispers from distant shores. Here, cliffs stand like silent guardians, their feet washed by waves, breathing in and out with the pulse of the ocean. In this meeting of rock and water, the story of the North is written again and again with every wave. In the far reaches of Norway's coast, where sea cliffs vanish into mist, lives one of the Arctic's most beloved seabirds. The Atlantic puffin, with its bright painted beak and tireless wings, returns here each summer to raise its young in burrows carved into the earth. From the islands of Lofoten to the wind-swept edges of Finnmark, they dive into icy waters, bringing back shimmering fish for the next generation. A fleeting visitor, yet forever a symbol of Norway's wild northern seas. In the tranquil heart of Strid lies Lofoten, fed by glacial streams. Its waters shimmer turquoise, kissed by Jostedalsbreen's ancient flow. Around it, steep cliffs rise, echoing a past where rock slides once unleashed giant waves. Waves that reshaped lives and left scars in the landscape. Today, the lake breathes calm, boats glide across its surface, and hikers pause to trace geology and memory. Lofoten is a place where beauty and history converge, and nature's silence speaks loudest of all. Here, where emerald meadows meet the turquoise flow, the river spills gently from the lake above, its waters fed by ancient glaciers turning the valley into a ribbon of life. Small red-roofed homes rest along the shore, as if guarding this jewel of Norway, a place where every bend in the water feels like a memory held in motion. In the quiet valleys of Norway, homes wear a crown of living green. Turf roofs, layered with grass and earth, keep the warmth in during winter and cool the air in summer. They are more than shelter. They are a living piece of history, blending with the land as if the mountains themselves chose to build them. Nestled on the quiet shores of a shimmering fjord, a tiny village appears, almost as if it were painted into existence. The houses, no bigger than a child's toy, have rooftops kissed by the deep gold of autumn. Neat farm fields stretch out like a patchwork quilt, stitched in greens and ambers. A small campsite rests by the water's edge, where time slows to the gentle rhythm of waves brushing the shore. From there, a silver river winds through the valley, its surface catching the soft light of the sun. It meanders past forests tinged with the warm hues of fall, until it disappears into the distant embrace of the mountains. Here, in this stillness, the world feels smaller and somehow more infinite. Snow drapes the evergreens. In a soft, white embrace, branches bend under winter's quiet weight, holding the cold like a secret. A lone wooden cabin stands, warm and inviting against the frozen stillness. Its roof wears a thick blanket of snow, untouched, pure, as though time itself had stopped here. Beyond the frosted pines, more cabins emerge like hidden whispers in the forest's breath, each one a small refuge from the cold, tucked deep in the silent woods, where the only sound is the hush of falling snow. far in the Arctic North lies Svalbard, a realm where ice and silence reign. Here, ancient glaciers stretch from mountain to sea, their frozen faces carved by centuries of wind and time. Under the pale sun, their surfaces shimmer like crystal, while deep within, layers of ice guard secrets from an age before memory. The still waters below mirror their towering walls, a reflection of Svalbard's untamed soul, enduring, unbroken, eternal. In the remote Arctic archipelago of Svalbard, glaciers cover nearly 60% of the land. These rivers of ice flow slowly from the mountains, their edges breaking into the frigid sea. Each layer of ice is a page in Earth's history, recording centuries of storms, seasons, and silence. The sun here lingers low, casting long shadows over crevasses and frozen ridges. Along the shore, floating ice drifts quietly past, carrying fragments from deep within the glacier's heart. In Svalbard, the land is shaped by ice, and life adapts to its frozen rhythm. A lone cyclist rides across the open fields, each turn of the wheel carried by silence. In Norway, cycling is not just a way to travel, it is a way to breathe with the land. The road becomes a thread, weaving through forests, meadows, and the stillness of the north. every petal a heartbeat in rhythm with nature. Bergen, Norway's second largest city, cradled between 7 mountains and the vast North Sea. Once a key hub of the Hanseatic League, its old wharf, Bergen, still tells stories of merchants and sailors. Today, Bergen is a vibrant blend of history and modern life. Wooden houses painted in bright colors, cafes buzzing with warmth, and harbors alive with boats. It is the gateway to Norway's famous fjords, a city where tradition meets the rhythm of the sea, and every street carries the spirit of the coast. Through mist and memory, the Fløibanen funicular begins its climb. With every turn of the track, Bergen's rooftops fall away and the fjords below shine like silver mirrors. This is not just a ride upward. It is a quiet ascent into wonder itself. Far above the Lysefjord rises Preikestolen, also known as Pulpit Rock, a sheer cliff standing over 600 meters high. Its flat plateau has become one of Norway's most iconic viewpoints. Carved by glaciers thousands of years ago, it now draws adventurers, hikers, and dreamers who come to stand at the edge of nature's grandeur. Here, wind and silence meet the roar of the fjord below, a place both breathtaking and humbling. In the dark skies above Norway, a cosmic dance begins, the aurora borealis. Curtains of green, purple, and fire flow across the heavens. For centuries, people have looked to these lights with awe, with wonder. Today, they remain a timeless reminder of nature's power and its mystery. And as the lights fade, the land itself speaks. This is Norway, a country of fjords and mountains, of history and tradition, of silence and song. Wild, enduring, unforgettable, Norway. This was but one glimpse of a vast and quiet world. If your soul longs for more journeys, subscribe to Ruach Realms and let every like be a lantern that lights the way to the next horizon.